The Saab 29 Tunnan and the Soviet MiG-15 represent two iconic jet fighters from the early Cold War era, both entering service in the late 1940s and early 1950s. Despite their similar roles as air superiority fighters, the designs were heavily influenced by the different military, geopolitical, and industrial contexts in which they were created. Sweden, situated between the two superpowers of the Cold War, developed the Tunnan to defend its sovereignty with a versatile multi-role aircraft capable of operating from short, dispersed airstrips. In contrast, the Soviet Union developed the MiG-15 to provide robust air superiority, with a primary focus on speed, altitude, and a combat-ready design that could quickly challenge any opponent in the region. This comparison will delve into the respective aircraft's design, performance, role, deployment, and operational history to assess their strengths and shortcomings. The Saab 29 Tunnan was Sweden's first truly modern jet fighter, built with a particular emphasis on adaptability and ease of operation. The design process, led by Swedish engineer Gunnar Rådström, saw the Tunnan being one of the first aircraft to use a swept-wing configuration, an innovative design that was beginning to be recognized as advantageous for higher-speed flight. However, unlike many contemporaries, Saab's design emphasized ruggedness and practicality over pure performance, understanding that the Swedish Air Force would need a fighter that could operate from the country's sparse and often difficult terrain. With this in mind, the Tunnan featured a sturdy airframe and landing gear capable of withstanding rough landings on short, unprepared airstrips. The Tunnan's main drawback was its relatively thick wing profile, which limited its high-speed performance compared to other aircraft of its time. The aircraft's single de Havilland Goblin turbojet engine, while reliable, did not provide the raw power seen in other contemporary fighters. This meant that the Tunnan lagged behind in terms of top speed and climb rate. However, it still excelled in medium-altitude combat, where its maneuverability and versatility were valuable assets for the Swedish Air Force. On the other hand, the MiG-15 was designed for performance and speed, with a sleek airframe that favored high-speed flight over rugged versatility. It was powered by the Klimov RD-45 turbojet engine, which was essentially a Soviet version of the British Rolls-Royce Nene engine. This provided the MiG-15 with significantly more thrust than the Tunnan's engine, allowing it to reach speeds of 1,050 km per hour or 652 miles per hour, a crucial advantage in any high-speed engagement. The MiG-15's engine, combined with its lightweight design, gave it superior acceleration, climb rate, and overall performance at higher altitudes. The wing design of the MiG-15 also differed considerably from the Tunnan. It featured forward-swept wings which, when paired with its powerful engine, allowed it to perform better at high speeds and higher altitudes, giving it an edge in terms of air superiority. The MiG-15's design was driven by the need for fast interceptors, with the primary goal of quickly gaining control over the skies and engaging enemy bombers or fighters in head-on combat. While the MiG-15 was incredibly fast, its design did not prioritize the same versatility in operational environments as the Tunnan, making it more suited for high-intensity, large-scale conflicts rather than the more geographically constrained, low-altitude operations Sweden anticipated. Performance and combat capabilities. The performance of both aircraft reflected the design choices made by their respective engineers. The Tunnan's maximum speed of around 1,000 km per hour was not exceptional, but it was sufficient for its intended role. The Tunnan's range was also somewhat limited by its single-engine configuration and fuel capacity, but its operational flexibility and ability to take on a variety of roles made it a reliable asset for Sweden. The Tunnan could serve as a fighter, ground attack aircraft, or even as a reconnaissance plane with minimal adjustments. Its relatively slower top speed meant that it was more easily outpaced by faster jets, including the MiG-15, but it still proved highly effective in defense roles where agility and precision were valued. The MiG-15, however, was unmatched in speed at the time of its introduction. With a top speed of 1,050 km per hour, it could outperform many of its adversaries, particularly in high-altitude engagements. The MiG-15's rate of climb and service ceiling were also superior, enabling it to reach the higher altitudes at which many bombers or high-flying enemy aircraft operated. Its weaponry, consisting of two 23mm and one 37mm cannon, allowed it to engage and destroy both bomber formations and enemy fighters with ease. While the Tunnan was a versatile multi-role platform, the MiG-15's design was strictly focused on air superiority, making it more effective in direct combat and large-scale air battles. When comparing the operational deployment of both aircraft, it's essential to consider the distinct geopolitical realities that shaped the way these fighters were used. The MiG-15 was deployed extensively during the Korean War, where it engaged US and United Nations forces in one of the first major conflicts between Soviet-designed aircraft and Western technology. The MiG-15, with its superior speed and firepower, dominated the skies against older American piston-engine aircraft and early jet fighters. It was a key player in the Soviet strategy for establishing air superiority in the region. In addition to its significant role in Korea, the MiG-15 was also a staple in Soviet air forces and the air forces of Warsaw Pact nations for many years, with production continuing until the mid-1950s. By the time it was replaced by more advanced models, the MiG-15 had already proven itself in numerous conflicts, establishing itself as a formidable aircraft in the Cold War. The Saab 29 Tunnan never saw combat in the same way as the MiG-15, due in part to Sweden's neutral stance during the Cold War. The Tunnan was used primarily for defensive purposes, as Sweden sought to maintain a robust defense against potential Soviet aggression. The Tunnan's multi-role design allowed it to be adapted for a variety of missions, from air defense to ground attack. The Swedish Air Force relied on its versatility and its ability to operate from rough, short airstrips, a crucial component of Sweden's strategy of asymmetric defense. Swedish planners believed that the Tunnan, along with other aircraft in their fleet, could force any Soviet invasion to stretch their resources and make progress in Swedish territory difficult. Though it never faced combat, the Tunnan served for several decades and formed the backbone of Sweden's air defense until the introduction of more modern aircraft. One of the most interesting aspects of the Tunnan service was its adaptation over time. In addition to its initial fighter role, the Tunnan was reconfigured as an attack and reconnaissance aircraft, with modifications that included better avionics, more weapons options, and improved sensors. Sweden's policy of neutrality meant that the Tunnan was used as part of a broader strategy focused on national defense rather than engagement in international conflicts. Still, its flexibility allowed it to evolve to meet the needs of Swedish defense strategies throughout the 1950s and 1960s. Both the Saab 29 Tunnan and the MiG-15 left lasting legacies in the history of military aviation. While the MiG-15 is remembered for its pivotal role in the Korean War and its status as one of the first successful jet fighters of the Cold War, the Tunnan is admired for its design philosophy, which emphasized adaptability, ease of operation, and versatility. Though the MiG-15 was faster and more suited for combat at high altitudes, the Tunnan's design suited Sweden's need for a reliable multi-role aircraft capable of defending its sovereignty in a neutral context. In conclusion, the comparison of the Saab 29 Tunnan and the MiG-15 highlights the differing priorities of their designers. One focused on versatile, low-altitude defense, and the other on high-speed, high-altitude air superiority. While the MiG-15 proved to be an outstanding air superiority fighter, dominating the skies in conflict zones like Korea, the Tunnan's more versatile approach served Sweden well in its neutral stance. Both aircraft were products of their time, reflective of the geopolitical realities and military needs of their respective nations, and each made a significant contribution to the evolution of modern air combat.